What is going on, Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day as usual, and in today's Super Mystery Dungeon video, I'm going to be telling you guys how to recruit Pokemon in the game. Now, it's quite different to the older games, and that's why I thought I might as well make a video, because there's literally various ways you can recruit Pokemon, and you can't recruit them in the dungeon anymore. It's pretty crazy, and it's a bit of a radical change, and I'm not sure if I like it yet, but I'll have to see when I play the game. So before we get into today's video, I just want to mention that I actually tweeted out yesterday that if we reach 5,000 subscribers in 2 weeks, I will actually set up a competition where one of you guys can win a copy of Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. Now, I'm not going to announce too many details until we actually hit that target, so you have 14 days from today's video to help us reach 5,000 subscribers. So all you have to do, guys, is just basically share this video and share our channel, and we'll hit that target in no time. But anyway, Twintendo Nation, let's get on with today's video. So, recruiting Pokemon is now part of the Connection Orb. Now, if you don't know what the Connection Orb is, it's basically the big web of Pokemon that we've seen in quite a few trailers. Now, there are various methods of getting Pokemon onto your team, whereas in the older Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, it was basically either defeating a Pokemon in the dungeon and then there was a slim chance it would join your team, or if you go to, say, a boss Pokemon and you beat it, and sometimes they will just automatically join your team. Now, I'm going to list the various methods of recruiting Pokemon in Super Mystery Dungeon, and we'll talk about it in a bit more detail. So first of all, you can recruit Pokemon by completing missions for them. Now, some of these missions can actually be found in the overworld, so if you go to the Cafe Connection, basically Kangaskhan's cafes, you'll sometimes find Pokemon in there that have like an exclamation mark over their head. We've seen this in the trailer with Wynaut, and that's one way to get a mission. Or if you just check your Connection Orb, you might already have like a mission available. And like the overworld Pokemon, that should have a red exclamation mark over the Pokemon, and that's when you'll know you've got a mission available. And just to add, you can actually stack missions, which is really nice. I think they did take that out of Gates to Infinity. You can only do one mission at a time, but that was something that I really liked doing in Explorers of Time, Darkness and Sky and Red and Blue Rescue Team, which is basically just doing multiple missions in one day. It's really nice that we can actually do that again. Another way Pokemon can join your team is quite similar to the last point I mentioned. Now, if you see a Pokemon with a red exclamation mark over its head, you know, sometimes you will have to do a mission, but other times these Pokemon will just join your team without any question. And that's kind of interesting. I don't know which Pokemon will do that, and I'm guessing it will be only a few, because obviously these 720 Pokemon that are in the game represent missions to us, and obviously once we've done them all, there's going to be no missions left. So hopefully, you know, there's not many Pokemon that will just literally join our team, because that's just like more missions gone out the window. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but there is no bulletin boards, which is kind of annoying. So there's kind of limited missions in this game. Now, the third method of recruiting Pokemon is very simple. Once you do a mission on the Connection Orb, you'll link up with another Pokemon that Pokemon is related to. Now, sometimes there will be various links from this Pokemon, and that way you will be able to recruit Pokemon really quickly. Say you do a mission for a Pokemon and it has 5 links available from that, you've basically recruited 5 Pokemon. It's as simple as that. Again, it does, you know, reduce the amount of missions in the game, but if you're just someone who just wants to get all the Pokemon, then this is going to save you a lot of time. Now, the fourth method I'm going to talk about is pretty interesting. We didn't hear anything about this, but now that the game is out in Japan, we now know that if you rank up in the Expedition Society, which is basically your guild, you'll get Pokemon on the Connection Orb as rewards for ranking up. Now, I can't remember how many ranks there are. There might be like 6 or 7 ranks, and you also unlock a team preset every time you rank up. Now, you can actually unlock up to 10 team presets. We thought it was 5, but you can actually make 10 teams, which is crazy. If you don't know what team presets are, basically you can make your own teams, save them. So instead of just going off to the Connection Orb to set up your team every time, you can go to your presets and you can just load them up and go into the dungeon. So you could have basically any Pokemon you've unlocked, you can put 3 together and make them a team straight away. So if you wanted like Magikarp, Feebas and another crappy Pokemon like Wurmple, you could make that team. I mean, you might not do well, but you know, you can make that if you want. So it's stuff like that, and it's pretty interesting. It does save a lot of time. To say, you know, there's 720 Pokemon. I'm really glad they've, you know, introduced those in. But anyway, going a bit off topic there. Now, the next method of recruiting Pokemon, this is kind of the only one that's similar from Explorers of Time, Darkness and Sky, Gates to Infinity, and Blue and Red Rescue Team. Now, this is, I don't think it matters even if they're on the Connection Orb, these Pokemon, but once you beat a boss Pokemon, for example Groudon, they will automatically join your team. So there are a few Pokemon like that in the older games, as I said. Some you'd have to get friend areas and some just wouldn't join your team straight away. But it looks like in this game that there are certain legendary Pokemon or bosses that will join your team once you beat them. And that's helpful because, you know, some dungeons are like 99 floors, you beat the boss and you'll have to go there all over again if you want them in the older games. That was a right pain. So yeah, I'm glad to see they fixed that kind of problem. Some people might not say it's a problem, but for me, I didn't really like that you'd have to go through the dungeon twice to obtain one Pokemon. I didn't like that, but yeah. Anyway, moving on to the last method. Now this is definitely the most interesting. So some Pokemon will actually randomly appear in dungeons. Now there are 3 types of these Pokemon. One is a helper. So when you encounter this Pokemon in the dungeon, they'll heal up your HP, your PP and your hunger, and they will automatically connect to your team, or you know, your connection orb. They will join your team. Now the second type is rescue. Now these Pokemon that you'll find, they'll be unconscious in the dungeon and they'll want an apple. Give them the apple, they'll join your team. If you don't have the apple, I'm afraid you're going to have to get one, otherwise they won't join your team. Now the last one is very, very interesting, and I think this might apply to outlaw Pokemon, which are basically Pokemon that have been causing a trouble and you've got to go defeat them as a mission. So some of the Pokemon will attack you, and once you damage that Pokemon, no matter how many times it's hit you, it will make a run for the stairs, and you've got to beat that Pokemon before it reaches the stairs. So it's very interesting, and I do like the sound of that, especially it'll, you know, make it a bit more tense, the battles, because obviously it'll try and find the stairs before you can beat it. And this is where, you know, orbs and wands are going to be very helpful to maybe teleport the Pokemon away from the stairs, maybe put it to sleep, stuff like that. So basically stock up on your items before you go on these missions, guys. Now I just want to add that finding these Pokemon randomly in dungeons is quite difficult because some of the Pokemon, for example Munchlax, can be found in various different dungeons. Now obviously if you're lucky you could stumble across that Pokemon, but if you have no idea where it is, there is actually a way to find out which dungeon it's in. So if you have no missions on your connection orb, you will receive notifications of where to find the Pokemon. Now the connection orb will only send you 3 of these notifications at once, so you can only get like 3 different Pokemon at a time. You can't basically stockpile these Pokemon, but once you're in the dungeon you'll get a notification when it's on the same floor as you, like, you know, you did in the older games when you had a mission and it was the same floor. And once you've found that Pokemon, it'll ask if you want to continue in the dungeon, and if you say yes, because you know that you might know that there's more Pokemon in this dungeon, or you might not know, once you go to the next floor it will let you know if there are other Pokemon that you're looking for in the dungeon. So it's very helpful, and it's just another interesting way of recruiting Pokemon. So guys, that's all the methods I can teach you on how to recruit Pokemon in the game. Although it does sound easier than past titles, it's still going to take a lot of hard work because there's 720 Pokemon you're going to have to find. And a lot of them, yeah, some of them will be easy to get, but a lot of them will not be. So yeah, guys, if you did enjoy this video and you found it very informative and helpful, smash that like button. Let's aim for 200 likes again, guys. And if you're new to the channel and you want to join the Twintendo Nation, hit that subscribe button on screen or down below. We're very close to 5,000 subscribers, and as I've already said, we'll be doing a competition where you can win a copy of Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, but that's only if we hit 5,000 subscribers in the next 2 weeks, so it's all up to you guys. So make sure you share this video, tell your friends about us, and we'll be setting up this competition in no time. So guys, if you haven't seen our 2 previous videos, by the way, they're going to be on screen right now. On the left hand side is yesterday's video where I talk about how Meowth's Theatre works in Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. It's very interesting. You can actually record your own gameplay and upload it, so definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. And on the right hand side, guys, you can see our first part of the Japanese Let's Play of Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. Very interesting. It's basically the same as the E3 demo, so there's not many spoilers. So if you just want to see what the gameplay looks like, definitely check that out. And anyway, guys, I hope you have an awesome day as usual, and I will see you in our next video. Peace!